talking to reinsurers here, right? And the reinsurance market had been going through some quite difficult times, really, for sort of 2017 to 2022-ish, and then really reset itself, both the role that it wanted to play in terms of the sort of degree of risk transfer between insurance and reinsurance, and properly pricing its product again. Why have things changed back so quickly?
I think the reality is, as an industry, because my experience has been across both the insurance side and the reinsurance side. As an industry, we need to be a sustainable industry. We need to be an industry that's here for the long term. I think if I think about some of our client relationships that have existed for 10, 20 years, ultimately, we have various stakeholders that we have to satisfy: our clients, our shareholders, and ultimately you have to create that equilibrium over the medium to longer term to create a sustainable business. I think the reinsurance market had got to a position that was not sustainable, and was losing significant capital. And the reality was that there needed to be a correction. Couple that with the results of a prolonged softening, coupled with elevated catastrophe activity, and the reality was very stark in the numbers. Something had to change.
Yep. And so, are you surprised how quickly it's shifted back again?
I think it's interesting to see. I mean, clearly the results that people are currently reporting are very healthy results. I think one's memory needs to be a little bit longer than just the last 2 or 3 years, and you need to be looking at ROEs after over 5 years and 10 years rather than the last couple of years. I think what will be interesting to see is the degree to which the data that we've all got access to today, that gives us a really good understanding of the underlying health of the business, how that is utilized. If you think about all the different stakeholders, whether it's regulators, whether it's boards, whether it's management teams, we've got access to far better data as to the profitability of our business. And it is available to us in much quicker time than it ever has been before. So I think the chance of having the excuse that I didn't know that things weren't adequate, I don't think that's really a valid excuse anymore. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see over the next 12 to 18 months the degree to which the underwriting discipline is visible in the actions.
Yep.
As a result of what the numbers are telling us.
I've been answering similar questions in the same way. You know, if you go back to the late 90s, which was precedent to the last really hard market, a lot of the cause of that was that we just didn't know what was going on. So it took quite a long time to learn just how bad things were, and we learn much more quickly these days. And yet still we get the same kind of behaviour that we had 25 years ago. It's extraordinary.
Well, you can have the data, but then what the humans decide to do with it is, and it is difficult because you've got competing pressures. Now, I think where it does start to get interesting is the degree to which one utilizes AI, as an example, to utilize that data to be challenging the human behaviors. I think it'll be fascinating to see.
Well, this is one of the questions I'm really interested in over the next couple of years, right? So one of the big developments in the London market over the last 9 or 10 years has been fast follow, algorithmic trading, and that's actually done quite well as the market has increased. It'll be very interesting to see how that fares in a more challenging time, and which cohort performs better: the automated cohort, which is possibly less susceptible to individual risk pressure, or the underwriting cohort, which has better judgment, but has that subjective human overlay to it.
Yeah.
I think it's been very interesting.
It is, isn't it? It is.
We will see.
We will see. So having been very exposed to both insurance and reinsurance, how would you compare and contrast them in terms of pros and cons for people entering the industry?
I'd come back a little bit to the question earlier on about starting in broking or underwriting. Similarly with insurance and reinsurance, I think the lines between the two are increasingly blurred.
That's very true.
I think there are some differences. whether you're underwriting single risks or portfolio risks. I think that's the main difference is your approach to the underwriting. Again, I think I think anybody through their career, I've been very fortunate to do the broking, the insurance, the reinsurance, and a bit of experience on the ILS side as well. So you see the full value chain. And anyone in their 20s, I think, take the opportunities to get those different experiences, because I think it gives you a full appreciation of the value chain and the different stakeholder priorities through it as well.
Yeah. Purely reinsurance, weren't you, Nick?
No.
No. Go on.
No.
Go on.
No. Well, as Jonathan Gregg will tell you, I was a very bad property underwriter. That's why we had to get him to come and join us. No, because I did. Funny enough, I trained on insurance as well as reinsurance as an underwriter. And when we started, actually, we wrote everything until we started getting people in who knew better, getting specialists in. So, I always think, although reinsurance is where my heart is, the actual reality is that you're much, being close to the original business and understanding how it works, I think is certainly, I think you should start there. I think reinsurance is, and it certainly, as far as I can see, reinsurance has become much more technical. It's become much more sort of model driven, etc. So to be able to understand whether your models are producing garbage, I think you need to understand the
True.
True.
I just think you have more options in insurance than reinsurance.
Yeah.
I think the biggest issue that reinsurers have is a lack of options of clients, because there aren't that many insurers out there.
No.
Fundamentally. Thinking about the future, are you hopeful about the future of the insurance industry?
I'm very optimistic. So if you look at what is going on in the world at the moment, it's a really uncertain world. If you look at the pace of change that we're all confronted with, whether that is internally looking, whether that's the pace of change that we're all experiencing within our businesses, but more importantly, if you look at the pace of change that our clients are confronted with, it's becoming ever quicker. If you look at what's going on in the world at the moment, you have to get quite a long way through a newspaper until you come across a story where the insurance industry doesn't have a fundamentally central role to play, whether that's climate change, geopolitical challenges that we're all witnessing at the moment, a population that is living longer, cyber attacks. The insurance industry has got a fundamental role in helping our clients understand, manage and mitigate the risks. But it's also how is the insurance industry responding to these changes? And I think in a number of ways, it's really encouraging to see, for example, how the industry is recognizing that there's a huge quantity of data out there that we could be and should be making much better use of.
Agreed.
There are new technologies out there that we are bringing on board, whether that is making us more efficient, whether that is helping us to make better decisions. But I think the most important bit for me, particularly sitting here in the London market, in this sort of ecosystem and this sort of center of human capital, is I think the industry has recognized that actually the skills that we that have served us well historically, yes, a number of those skills are still important, but actually the skills that we require for the future to be helping our clients are quite different. And that means that we need to be attracting talent from all walks of life, from very different backgrounds with a broad set of different skill sets. And I think some of the steps that actually the market has done, both in recognizing that, but also taking steps to get out there and make us more attractive to a more diverse population, I think is really encouraging. But we can't rest on our laurels.
No, true.
And you can have the data, you can have the tools, and you can have the people, but actually it is that culture of innovation, entrepreneurialism that is really important for us to be successful going forward and relevant to our clients.
How would you compare the industry now, Nick, to how it was when you began?
Chalk and cheese. I mean, it's so different. I mean, the London market, when I joined, was such a different place.
Okay.
I'm trying to be polite here, but I mean, it was, frankly, it was a very mixture. Some of the best underwriting talent in the world and some of the very worst. I have to say the sort of generation when I started, some of the ethics were questionable,
Right.
very questionable. And so I think that's improved massively. I think the whole moral compass of the markets improved massively, actually. And actually, the what we're providing with clients. I mean, I think we've talked about this many times. Is fixing people's problems is the issue. It's not the money.
Yes. Yes. It's being useful.
It's being useful because
Yeah,
the
agreed.
world is a complicated place.
Yes.
Just sort my problem out for me.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed.
And so I think, and I can see the market moving in that direction.
Do you think there's anything that we've lost in the London market that we should regret?
Well, I suppose on the basis that, two minds are better than one.
Yep.
When we were starting, there was much more collaboration in the market between businesses. Yes, we were competing, but also there's a lot of collaboration.
Coming up with answers together.
Together, because it's much easier. Now people are making them in silos, and I think that I think some of that has been lost actually, inevitably, because people guard their IP so much.
Of course. And last question for you, Chris.
Yeah.
Boeuf bourguignon
Oof.
or steak and kidney pie?
So it was porky scratchings at the start, but it's definitely Boeuf bourguignon at the finish.
Gentlemen, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, Adrian.
I walked past the bus. I hadn't seen it, and it's quite good, isn't it? It's great. Actually, I was just thinking, I was saying to Shelley, actually, if we put that there 40 years ago, I could imagine. Can you imagine the establishment?
Slightly different reaction.
I think they would have thrown us out.
So, question: is it pink colour?
Yeah, but I think so. Of course, the pink is now, I think, has developed to, as you say, with a bit more pop.